Elijah Gersham Cravens was born on October 20th, 1867, in Windham, Texas. Very little seems to be known about him, though one source seems to show that he was married twice. First, to a Mary Ella Ramsey, and then to a Nanny Dorcas Cole Hancock. Mary Ella Ramsey passed away on April 19th, 1892, at 1:50 p.m. Elijah had 5 children, the first being Walter Overton Cravens, who was born on October 5th, 1890, in Fannin County, Texas. He passed away on August 19th, 1978, in Honey Grove, Texas. Elijah's second child was Edith Lula Cravens Watson, who was born on March 18th, 1892, in Allens Point, Texas. She died on February 18th, 1978, in Hobart, Oklahoma. Elijah then remarried on Christmas Day in 1894 to, of course, Nanny Dorcas, and they had 3 children together. His first child with Nanny Dorcas was Gersham Thomas Cravens, who was born on September 10th, 1895, in Honey Grove, Texas. He passed away on February 19th, 1977, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Elijah and Nanny had an infant daughter together, who was born on July 16th, 1896. I could not find a grave page for her, though that doesn't mean it didn't exist. And Elijah's last child was Janetta Magdalene Cravens Howard, who was born on December 7th, 1897, in Ardmore, Oklahoma. She married Casey Loyce, I'm assuming his middle name was Loyce, Howard in 1918. Janetta passed away on October 19th, 1960, in San Angelo, Texas, from breast cancer. Elijah's second wife, Nanny Dorcas Cole Cravens, was born on July 7th, 1870, in Honey Grove, Texas. She passed away on May 14th, 1945, in Midland, Texas. According to NamUs, Elijah Cravens went missing on or around January 1st, 1902, from Okmulgee, Oklahoma. I just want to point out real quick that one thing NamUs tends to do is that when an exact date is not known, usually the first of whatever month is given, if they know the month. And if they don't know really the date at all, typically it might just say January 1st. Anyway. There is very little information about him on the NamUs page, stating that he was 30 to 40 years old, 5 to 6 feet tall, and 100 to 300 pounds. Clearly, not very much information was actually known. But the fact that there is a NamUs page does tell us that somebody actually reported him missing, because that's how their system works. Though I don't know when exactly he was ever reported missing. All the NamUs page can really tell us, though, is that he was a farmer who lived outside of Okmulgee, Oklahoma, and he left on horseback to attend a Woodmen of the World meeting and was never seen again. There have been 35 exclusions to his case. Elijah's case seems to be the oldest missing persons case, at least by year, on NamUs, at least as of 2025. Using a little math, I figured that Elijah would have been 34 going on 35 when he did go missing. There was a post on May 23rd, 2024 by See Me OKC, which included flyers of various missing people, of which Elijah was included. The flyer actually states that Elijah was 5'7" and 190 pounds. The International Missing Persons Wiki also has a small blurb about Elijah, and they said something interesting in that he never attended the Woodman meeting, though I'm not sure how that was proven. And I'm not saying that's wrong, I'm just curious if that might be a clue in some way. The 1900 census confirms that Elijah was indeed a farmer. Thankfully, a little more information to his background was gleaned upon when I looked on Family Search. Elijah had the nicknames Eli and Lige. He was the youngest of his siblings, and his father passed away relatively young in 1871 at the age of 45 years old. A census record shows that Elijah had lived with his mother, and she was a housekeeper after his father died. There is extremely little known about this case, and looking back, there doesn't even seem to be a location stated for the Woodman meeting, at least not on like NamUs or other websites. I looked up any articles about the Woodman dated January of 1902 in Oklahoma, and the only thing that really stood out to me was a small snippet from the Daily Ardmorite from Ardmore, Oklahoma. It stated that about 700 people were fed the night before at a banquet given by the Woodmen. Not much else. It stated that they could have fed another 700 people, I guess, with how much food there was. And for reference, because I've seen online, some people think it's a potential conspiracy. Oh, maybe the Woodman did it or whatever. Stop. The Woodman the Woodman of the World is and was an insurance group. Nowadays, they've changed their name to Woodman Life. If you ever go to an older cemetery, like I like to do, since I live in Texas, I feel like you see it a lot where I live, at least in my state, where you'll see people with headstones from the 1800s, most typically, but also early 1900s, with the Woodman of the World logo on it. Typically, I've seen these headstones when I've taken, find a grave requests, taking pictures for people's loved ones. And I've seen so many of these headstones, it's just a thing. It's not a conspiracy. That said, anyway, I ended up looking up the distance from Ardmore to Okmulgee, and the area that, of course, Elijah was apparently reported missing from. In modern day, it would take about 2 hours and 40 minutes to drive between the two places. So I'd imagine, of course, it would be more time on horseback in, the 1900s. If this is where Elijah went, though, you would think that he would have been able to come back relatively soon, maybe within a day or two. It's unknown what could have happened to him. He might have experienced an early death, like his father. Or, it being Oklahoma, maybe he got picked up by a tornado. I don't know. What I do find interesting, though, is that Ardmore is only another 2 hours, at the most, in modern day, from Honey Grove, Texas, where he seemed to have some family ties to before. Let us not forget, on top of that Janetta was also born in Ardmore. I wonder, would it be too out of place to ask if Elijah potentially went there?